It's really good. Okay, for the next question, our final few minutes here, someone said, I'm reading all this stuff about Kim Davis. And so just to remind the audience, Kim Davis, I think, was kind of a court clerk responsible for signing marriage licenses or handing them out. And she refused to do so for a same-sex marriage. I believe, was this before Obergefell or after?
It was right after.
Okay.
The Supreme Court handed it down and she said, according to my religious convictions, I cannot have my name on a marriage license for two men. And
Mm-hmm.
she said, I can find somebody else to do this for you, but it can't be
Mm-hmm.
me.
Yeah. So, she's popped back up into the news, I believe, because the Supreme Court is considering taking up her case and hearing arguments about it and considering overturning Obergefell, as a result of this court case. So what do you think about that, Katie? Do you think this is going to happen? Is Obergefell going to get flipped over? And then you can remind people, we actually are talking about Obergefell a lot within our organization and with different colleagues and other organizations as well.
So what they're doing, what she and her lawyer is doing, is they are challenging Obergefell on the grounds that it violated her religious convictions. And I really didn't know a whole lot about her story. I mean, she was actually put in jail and then she was fined like a couple $100,000 to pay for emotional damages for these men who ended up getting a marriage license from somebody else. So it's not like they were stymied in their ultimate goal. But I didn't know a whole lot about this case. And then I listened to an interview with Matt Staver, her lawyer. And, she's trashed. She is not trash. She is trash, duh. In media, because everyone's like, oh, this woman who's had 4 different marriages and now standing on the sanctity of marriage. Well, I listened to this backstory and she did have 4 marriages and then she got saved. And she said, I have been trashing this institution that God made and cherished and that he has a specific social purpose for. And then she remarried her second husband. And it's because she disregarded marriage so much in her own life that she now holds it in such high esteem. And so it really was really fascinating. I hadn't given it the attention that I think that it needed. So what they've done is they have applied a cert petition, which is asking the court to take up the case. Will the court do it? We don't know, but the court gets thousands and thousands of these kinds of petitions every year and only takes up a handful. So the court is going to decide, is this something that we want to address or not? Has it been adequately adjudicated in the lower courts? So I don't know what is going to happen with this. It seems like it's a bit of a stretch to say this is going to overturn Obergefell. I hope that she at least gets awarded for the damages that she has wrongly had to pay to this same-sex couple that really was targeting her. It's very obvious. So I don't know, because it really is not a direct challenge to Obergefell itself, but more the implications for religious objectors. Our campaign will, however, we at Them Before Us are spearheading a national coalition to challenge gay marriage, not on religious liberty grounds, but on the grounds that it victimizes children, on the grounds that it violates their rights, on the grounds that once you swap out a life-giving, procreative understanding of the marital union at the center of the solar system of marriage and family laws, you necessarily render children as objects and commodities to be awarded to any and every adult. The entire legal structure of our country, as it relates to parenthood, has been overhauled in the last 10 years. And the effect is children have become objects of rights that some adult can say, give me this kid. And if they have a valid contract, they get the kid, even if they're not genetically related, even if they've never gone through an adoption process. So we're seeing some pretty devastating, distorted, dystopic scenarios as it relates especially to the use of reproductive technologies and the laws that gay marriage has forced states and courts to permit, so that children can go home with unrelated adults, some of whom are convicted pedophiles.
Well, and a lot of pushback on social media is talking about you cannot take our civil rights away, and that is just a completely incorrect framing. You didn't have a civil right to redefine a social institution that's basically required for civilization, right? So you're going to hear a lot of language like that this is tantamount to trying to ban a Black man and a white woman from getting married, and is not true. Marriage is defined as something. It actually means something, even if we want to pretend it means something else.
Yeah, you're going to hear all different kinds of weeping and gnashing of teeth when it comes to properly defining marriage. And there will be all kinds of obfuscations that are thrown up into that. The same kinds of emotionally manipulative tactics that were used to push gay marriage to begin with in 2015, we're not going to let it happen. We're going to give very concrete, honest, child-centric answers. And I believe we're going to build a coalition of not just conservatives, but a lot of people in the middle too, who still believe that mothers and fathers matter, because they do. You matter to your children. Children need you, their own mom and dad, every day, all